with A Song in My Heart, the story of men and their music, of composers who really had a song in their hearts.
With a song in my heart, first we'll train to you, and you can guide me through the gorgeous gardens like Georgie used to do. And roll me on the river, roll me over with you.
Row me on the river, row me. A hit song of nearly 40 years ago. Incidentally, it's very like a hit number, also a river song, of a few short years back. But be that as it may, the song we speak of is a real old-timer. Its composer, James W. Tate, better known to London variety fans as Jimmy. And this man was a real composer, in addition to being an ace vaudeville pianist. He first came to light as an English music hall star in the days prior to World War I, somewhere around 1913.
And boy, he was a star. Do you recall his act?
Sure I do. He teamed up with that lovely English comedian, Clarice Main.
And you're right on the beam, sister. Clarice Main and That was the act's unusual billing. Fancy you remembering them. I didn't think you'd admit to being so old.
Oh, I wouldn't normally, but like the girls in that hit song, Dearie, I can still recall the things I want to recall.
So it seems. Well, Clarice Main and That was Jimmy Tate, was stars when the opposition was at its hottest. In America, there were Al Jolson, Nora Bayes, and Sophie Tucker. In London, Harry Lauder, Florrie Ford, and Clarice Main and That.
Which all adds up to the fact that Jimmy Tate was quite a guy. He was not only a fine pianist, but what's more, and the part that interests us mainly, he was a front-rank composer. In fact, any type of music came easily to him. He wrote musical comedy, revue, and hit songs of the purely popular type. One of these was introduced to London audiences by American variety star Lee White. If your memory's good, you're sure to know it. If it isn't, you'll still be appreciative of a grand song. Jimmy Tate's Every Little While.
Every little while I feel so lonely. Every little while I feel so blue. I'm always dreaming
While I was listening to that old-timer, the thought occurred to me it'd be well worth reviving. It could easily stand a new lease of life. But let's hold it a moment. I'm getting way out ahead of things. The first real hit that Jimmy Tate wrote for Clarice Mayne was that terrific pop of other times, Give Me a Cozy Little Corner. And it was the #1 seller of the year 1913.
Give me a little cozy corner and an armchair for two. Somewhere with somebody there, anywhere will do. Give me an evening in the twilight with the pale moon above, and I'll find a little cozy corner in the heart of the girl I love. Give me an evening in the twilight with the pale moon up above, and I'll find a cozy little corner in the heart of the girl I love.
Jimmy Tate and Clarice Mayne, she plugging the numbers and he accompanying her at the piano, would become almost an institution in the English music halls, and they were headlined wherever they appeared.
And they deserved the top of the bill spot, too.
I'll say they did. Clarice Mayne could sell a song as well as anyone living.
And those songs of Jimmy's, well, she had something to sell.
And do you remember when they were married? Oh, she looked simply lovely.
Jimmy wasn't a bad-looking bloke either.
No, they made a perfect pair.
Well, they certainly left a real impression with you two. But then 1914 arrived, and with it the First World Conflagration. The last we saw of peace, real peace, in this hectic 20th century of ours. Naturally, Jimmy Tate did what songwriters all over the world did. He turned out a patriotic song. There were literally thousands of them, a spate of flag wavers such as the music world had never seen previously. To place it on record, Jimmy Tate's effort was Somewhere in France with You.
Somewhere in France, somewhere in France, yonder across the sea, while I
although this song was a moderate success, Jimmy found out, like all songwriters before and since, that war songs, except in very, very rare cases, seldom have much appeal for the public. When trouble comes along, it seems we want escapist fare, anything that can make us forget the hideousness of the times. And it was 1916 when Jimmy Tate wrote a number that was to become unconsciously one of the great hits of the war. A song the troops sang, and needless to say parodied, wherever they fought. It first saw the light of day in a London review called Samples. One morning at rehearsal...
This show's short of a hit song. It's got everything else but... Jimmy Tate!
Yes, George. Coming.
Bring Clifford Harris with you.
My shadow. He's right here with me now.
Good. Now listen, boys. I want one more song from you, and it's got to be a hit number.
What type? Any ideas?
No, only I want it for Clarice. Now, surely you can write a hit for your wife.
Jimmy's been doing that all his life.
I know, Cliff, but we're in a spot. This production is absolutely right for London today. Comedy, dancing, blackouts, they're all show of fire. But it still needs a hit number. Something that the troops will take back with them to France.
All right, well, we'll get to work on it, George. If Cliff can give me the right idea of his lyrics, I'll find the melody.
And how well they did it. For when Gladys Main introduced that song, it became a seller that ran into the millions. The evergreen Broken Doll.
You called me baby doll a year ago. You told me I was very nice to know. I soon learned what love was. I thought I knew, but all I've learned has only taught me how to love you. You made me think you loved me in return. Don't tell me you were fooling after all. Oh, if you turn away, you'll be sorry someday. You left behind a broken doll.
You made me think you loved me in return. Don't tell me you were fooling after all. For if you turn away, you'll be sorry someday. You left behind a broken
The success of Broken Doll set the seal to Jimmy Tate's fame. It was sung, whistled, and danced to wherever music was played. It ranked with Tipperary and A Long, Long Trail as the most beloved songs of the troops. Maybe it was its nostalgic theme. Maybe the plea of loneliness in the lyric. Whatever it was, and what makes a hit is a mighty tricky one to handle, Broken Doll proved, and still is, a wonderful money spinner. The act of Clarice Main and that became more popular than ever. One of their most charming songs, it became a stock number of their repertoire, was Jimmy's I Was a Good Little Girl Till I Met You, which Clarice always sang to her partner.
When I was young and innocent, you stole into my heart. You taught me things I now repent whenever we're apart. You taught me that the world was wide a bit too wide for me, and now I am not satisfied with just a cup of tea. I was a good little girl.
Clarice, darling, you were never a good little girl.
You sent my head in a whirl, my poor heart too.
But aren't you very much better now that you have met me?
Oh, how you told me the tale.
And how?
You always do. I was a good little girl till I met you.
But aren't you very much better now?
Up to this time, Tate had confined his numbers to variety and review. But one day, he was sent for by the famous Australian dramatic star and producer, Oscar Ashe.
It was Oscar Ashe who wrote and produced the colourful Oriental extravaganza, Choo Chin Chow, which had a London run of over 5 years.
Correct. But on this occasion, Oscar Ashe was producing the Frederick Lonsdale Fraser Simpson musical comedy, The Maid of the Mountains.
Fred,
Yes, Mr. Ashe?
this show needs 2 or 3 more numbers.
Oh, well, shall I call the composer, Fraser Simpson?
No, I don't think so.
Well, what have you got in mind, then?
Well, I feel that another composer should be called in to complete the score.
Yeah, but what of Fraser Simpson?
Well, Fraser's done a magnificent job. His music is glorious. But I still think that a new composer would give just that touch of something different to the balance of the show.
Huh. Like Grossmith did when he called in that young American composer, Jerome Kern, to add a few songs to that score of Paul Rubens.
Exactly.
Well, have you got anybody in mind?
Yes.
Meaning?
James Tate. That boy's style will give us just the lift the show needs.
Ah, well, shall I contact him?
Yes. Get hold of Tate and his lyric writer, Clifford Harris, and quickly.
And that's how it came about that when The Maid of the Mountains premiered in London, 2 of its biggest hits came from the Harris-Tate combination. And what great numbers they were.
A bachelor gay am I, though I've suffered from Cupid's dart. But never I vow will I say die in spite of an aching heart. For a man always loves a girl or two, though the fact must be confessed. He always swears the whole way through to every girl he tries to woo that he loves her far the best. At 17, he falls in love quite madly with eyes of a tender blue. At 24, he gets it rather badly with eyes of a different hue. At 35, you'll find him flirting sadly with 2 or 3 or more. When he fancies he is past love, it is then he meets his last love. And he loves her as he's never loved before.
Here in the mountains love came to my heart with a thrill of wild delight, waking my soul with the lilt of a wonderful song, so glad and bright. Down in the valley beneath me, the waterfall laughed and danced with glee. All the whole world seemed to ring with the tidings that love had come to me. Love is my life, from care or strife, true
show ran for just on 4 years in London and became one of the most favored shows of the troops. The Tommies and the GIs of the day just leapt it up. James Tate was now really big time in the field of music, and any new composition from his fertile brain was eagerly snapped up by music publishers. The world was at his feet. But then fate stepped in, and in 1922, Jimmy Tate died.
His passing was mourned by the entire theatrical industry.
Yes, we felt we'd lost something personal when the act of Clarice Main and that was no more.
But fortunately, Jimmy's passing was tempered by the fact that he left us a heritage of song, for his melodies are still with us. And so we say thank you, James Tate, for many memories of other times.
You called me baby doll a year ago. You told me I was very nice to know. I soon learned what love was. I thought I knew, but all I've learned has only taught me how to love you. You made me think you loved me in return. Don't tell me you were fooling after all. For if you turn away, you'll be sorry someday. You left behind a broken doll.
You made me think you loved me in return. Don't tell me you were fooling after all. For if you turn away, you'll be sorry someday. You left behind a broken
And so we cover the life story of still another composer who had a song in his heart. The melodies and events of James Tate's era were reenacted for us by Roy Leywood, Richard Gaze, George Randall, Moira Farrow, Kathleen Goodall, Peggy MacDonald, Max Blake, Eula Parker and her Parkettes, and Horry Dargey's quartet. Your compere was John Morgan. Orchestra and chorus were under the baton of William Flynn. With a Song in My Heart was produced by Alfred Potter and scripted and directed by Jack O'Hagan.